Hello guys. Hold on one second. I'm going to close the door so my room will be quiet so I can record. Right back. Okay, the last video, received a phone call in the middle of it and have never had that happen before. So it interrupted and stopped the video, and so right in the middle of talking and sewing, or talking and pressing, one or the other, it was interrupted. So now we're gonna start right here. I don't think I'm gonna pin. I think I'm just gonna try to complete this without pinning. So we're gonna go around at a 1/4 inch seam allowance. I think that's where it needs to be. Let's turn it. I think that's it. And keep the corners together. I don't think I want it that close. I'm just going to turn it with it up and come right down to the point where I stopped. Right there. And I'll check underneath. Looks like I have one more stitch to go. And this one will be all the way to the end, all the way to the 1/4 inch from the end. And this looks like right where it should stop. And this was I'm gonna have to start that one over. Didn't want to do that. And that one's going to be really close. So I think I'm going to start it up just a little. Because for some reason, that one got the seam allowance really close to the opposite side of the fabric. And I'm not sure I'm happy with that. So I think I may even make it a little bit straighter. Okay, that looks a little bit better. And we'll trim. This rose-colored solid is actually going to be on the back. Some of the rose-colored squares I want on the back and the front, and they're random, but I want them spread out a little. So, and then I trim the excess fabric. That one's pretty close, but it's okay. It'll work. It's not in danger of making a problem later. So that one's good. And that one's good. You can trim them close without hurting anything as long as you're careful what you're doing. And then I get rid of the fabric, or not the fabric, I get rid of the threads and the trimmings. And then we will lay it out. Let's hope that one turned out. I'm going to turn it out. And I didn't leave myself a very big hole, so but we have enough for the point turner and my fingers to fit in there, so we can turn it out. And I'm hoping that you can see what I'm doing. I'll get my point turner. Works really good. And it's not wanting to go up all the way, but now it is. Okay. So then we will go to the big corner back here. And we've gotten it clear to the point. And then we'll do this other corner over here. And I'm going to do some of it with my finger and then the rest with the point turner, if you can see what I'm doing. We're getting it turned right side out. Can you see that? You want to get it all the way so that it's a 90 degree if you can. And then I have one more on this side, and while I'm on the long sides, I run the point turner along under the fabric to turn all of it, so you don't have to fuss with it later when you get it to the iron. So we'll go like that. And then we will go back inside here. This is not the open area. The open area is on this end. And I'm gonna go back inside there and press that long side again, right here. Because you want that seam as close to the edge where you're gonna press as you can get it. It's going to be so that it will lay like that. And then this side, the same. So go back in there and do the other long side like that. And then let's go ahead, let's just do all three. And then we'll go to the fourth side, which is your short side, because you didn't sew that all the way shut. And then you're going to press the whole thing. But if you can see, the fabric needs to meet each other on the open side. And then you finger press. Once you get your fabric turned, then you're going to finger press, because you're unless you want to go right to the iron and do each one individually. It all depends on what you want, how you want to do it. And so then I'm going to press this in a second. First, I have to heat up the iron. So I'll turn it on, let it warm up for a second. And while I'm doing that, I can sew another one. So we'll set that one aside and do another one. And this one I'll do white on the back. So I'll take the white, and it looks like, okay, I want this one for the top. And the reason I pull on the fabric is to see which one is which one is the bias direction. When you pull it side to side, it shouldn't stretch. When you pull it up and down, you should have a little bit of stretch. I believe that's how you can tell. And this one I'm going to pin because the last one got off center a little bit. So we're going to pin it. I don't like it that direction. I don't want my sewing foot, my presser foot, to run into the ball of the pin. So, and I marked these with the little red marks at a 1/4 inch. So I can have a 1/4 inch seam allowance on every one of them. If you don't do every one of them at the same measurement, you'll have problems when you go to put it together because your squares won't all be the same size. Then I measure, if you want, I can measure it, and I will start it at 0. And it goes to 8 3/8 is where that seam should come out. 1 2 3/8. It should be at a 1/4 inch because we want our square to be 8 3/8. Then I'm going to start stitching on the side that's going to have an opening. Then I'll go about 1/4 of the way in with the needle and do my straight stitch. And then I have marked my little right angle. And when I get to that point, I put the needle down, spin the fabric, into the next corner, and we'll go right to the spot that I marked, and that's actually a little further, only because the needle didn't go down correctly. It went down correctly, it's just the way that the length of the stitches are. You can't just stop in the center of a stitch. You can, but I'm going to remove some of these pins and keep the last one because we haven't sewn that yet. Okay. Okay, now we're at the other point, and we're going to check and make sure it's at the correct spot. And we're going to come down about 1/4 of the distance of the square and knot it off. Trim it. Trim it. And then I trim kind of close where I'm going to turn it out because I don't want a whole bunch of fabric under every corner, because that way it'll lay flatter at the corners where you turn it out. I kind of don't like that. Okay, that's better. And I like to get in closer at the very corner. Not too close, because you don't want to damage your fabric, and you don't want to, ooh, almost mess that up. Okay, let's get rid of the scraps, clean as you go. Okay, Now we'll turn it out. I usually make a whole stack of these and then turn them out. So I could do that now, but I'm interested in getting another row done. And so I have 7 squares to sew together. And I just finished the 5th row. And then I'm going to start turning it out. This one. And I normally like to start up here. If you can see what I'm doing, I'm kind of turning out the corner. Turning out is turning the fabric right side out after you've sewn the other side. You turn it right side out and you have your seam. And it has a corner. This corner isn't very pointy. And I have others that are like that. I get them as pointy as I can get them. So anyways, once I press that fabric with the rose-colored solid on the back, I will start stitching together some of those seams, some of those squares, so you can see what I did. Okay, let's go across the flat side, finger press. And then we will lay this down and press it. And I'm not sure I'm going to have this one in the row. I just wanted to get it done. It's like the more squares I can get done each day, the quicker I can get the tablecloth done and put the lace on the edges and send it to my sister. So, that one's really kind of pretty. All of them are, really. And it's not really retro that they remind me of. Like I said in my previous video, it's actually vintage looking. And that's what we like. We like some vintage once in a while. It depends on what you like. Some people don't like vintage. Okay, so we have turned on the iron. And I have lots of these that are already partially done. This one's not folded correctly, but we'll get it. Yeah, just needs finger pressed the correct way. And we'll do the white side first. So that shows me how hot my iron is. And it's not very hot. So we can do the other side before it gets hot. And that one you can give it a good press. And then it'll be hot on this side. I'll give it a little bit of water. I use distilled water in it. And so it doesn't gum up my iron. I don't want my iron to have lots of lime in it. Where we live, there's lots of lime in the water. Now this is the one that I just finished on the machine. And I want all those edges to be out. I want all of my seams to be flat. And then I'm going to turn it down and do the other side. This side is not as good with a really, really hot iron. The print side is just 100% cotton, and I think the other side is too, but it's made out of something a little more delicate. And so there we go with that one. I'll cut that off in a little bit. And so we're going to put some of these together. So this one has rose on the back, and we want rose on the back, the rose color. And then I kind of like, since that one's a rose, let's do a print of something next to it. And I always try to print where I have the open area is the part of the square where I try to, and for some reason this one looks longer. So I can go back in and make that seam skinnier, or I can just sort of match them up. And this one just probably needs poked out a little more so it will match up with the other square. So we'll match those. And then I'll go down to the bottom squares, the bottom corners too, and make sure that that one is correct and that it's not folded in too much. And then the same on the other. All four corners need to be the same. And then you put them together. Let's press it first to make sure that stays, that what I sewed stays better, and that matches better, but it still looks a little shorter. I'm gonna measure. If you're not sure, measure it. So we're gonna see what this measures. This looks like 8 and that looks like 8 1/4. And this one looks like 8 and almost 8 3/8. Let's just randomly check some of these. This one looks like 8, not even 8 1/4. Oh, and that's the other side. So we want, this one probably is going to need turned out more. Let's check this one. This one is 8 1/4. This one may need taken up just a little. Let's check this one. We're just randomly checking. There's the open side. And that one looks like just a little more than 8 1/4. Okay, maybe I didn't hold the measurement right. That one looks like just a little more than 8 1/4. They're not off by much, and when I get my zigzags together, you should be okay. When I put the sides together, you want them as close to perfect as possible, but every once in a while you're going to have one that's not quite what it needs to be. So since this one, let's measure in the center. That's a little, just a little more than 8 1/4. And that one is just 8 1/4. So it could be that I just don't have this pressed out very good. So that could just be a pressing thing. Some fabric is forgiving, and I think this one is. I'm taking off some of these extra threads. So I'm going to get to this. I'm going to go ahead and join all these together and make a row, and then I'll come back and let you know how it turned out. Bye for now.